countries, it may have 3. You know what I mean? Why do we have red dye, yellow dye, blue dye? Do we have
And
stuff
all that stuff you can't pronounce?
Right, with stuff that they can put use in a car, and that's in your food, and all of these different things that he's talking about. I'm like, well, how crazy do you have to be to think that that's a problem, that somebody's trying to clean up the FDA and all of these things that have been approved for, safe for human consumption? And maybe they are human for humans, but not for us.
Listen, the war effort, silent weapons, is for quiet war. Why do you fight a quiet war? The only reason you keep the war quiet is because you don't want the people you wage war against to know that you wage war against them.
Right. Yeah.
When they put a warrant out, it's a ad warranto continuum. That means it's a continuation of an issued warrant. And that first warrant was signed by the president to get us off the land so that the U.S. corporation could expand west, which brought about they was paying for our hair. They wanted to know it was the woolly hair. That's where the scalping was. They got us believing that the tribes over here was scalping them, and that's not what was going on, because they got the newspaper clippings that had the bounty records in the newspaper of one of our scalps, what they go for. First, they was paying for a whole head, but then they started having too many heads in their coffers. So then they would say, well, we don't want the whole head, just bring us the scalp. All this is in newspapers from San Francisco from back in the day. You can look this up. You can send AI and ask AI about the government's campaign to exterminate the Indians in the West. We was called outlaw tribes. They did not do business with us because we didn't want to do business with them. But they expanded their corporate reach onto our territories all the way from coast to coast, from sea to shiny sea.
Wow.
What they call their flag? Old Glory. That's an old victory. They thought that they was going to be able to oppress us indefinitely. They believed that none of the tribes was going to see how they was moving as long as they maintained their uniform commercial standard. When we had the Pony Express that they turned into the U.S. mail, we rode horseback in tribal regalia. But now they give you all of these fantasy Western movies making you think it was the paleface that started the Pony Express. Pony Express is old as this land is. Ever since we've been here, we've been having couriers sending messages from my big mama to your big mama. Half the time they didn't even know they were sending the message. She said, I need you to go from, let's say, for instance, my big mama in Mississippi and yours in Louisiana, right? And I tell one of my people, I say, I need you to go buy 5 gallons Louisiana Cajun stew, right? No corn, right? So they go down there and they order the stew, and Big Mama down there is telling the Big Papa, hey, go get Uncle Joe, Uncle Willie, and Uncle Sam and send them back with them. So when they send them back with them, the no corn meant no celebration. This is business because the corn is festive. Your big mama down there in New Orleans knew what my big mama needed because of what she sent her baby to ask for. So now these 3 uncles come back and tear up the town and then go back home and don't nobody know who they is, where they came from, and why they did it. But they'll know next time when they get smart with my big mama that she knows somebody big mama that's going to send them boys. And in the case we in now, my big mama said, baby, leave no stone unturned, get all of it back. My mama said, you heard what Big Mama said? I said, I heard what Big Mama said. She said, don't leave no stone unturned. I said, I won't do it, Mama. I'm 3 years old, don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I never knew what I was talking about till I got 50. And then all of the codes start coming in. Everything my mama told me meant something. Everything my big mama told me meant something. Every time they asked me something and I gave them an answer and they acknowledged that the answer was correct, they knew I was supposed to read the codes. So my mama programmed us all to read codes. My whole family, I could code drop something right now in the conversation. It won't mean nothing to nobody but somebody in my family. You've been talking in code since I can remember. My mama been teaching me puzzles since I can remember. She gave me all of the codes as a baby that I was going to need to translate what was going on the land so that the rest of the tribes, big mamas, know when I'm explaining what happened on the land, hey, listen to him. Not because I'm better than nobody, but my big mama talking to your big mama through me, and I don't even know what I'm telling her. I'm just telling what happened, and all our big mamas is using me to talk to each other in the conversation. And the term for it in modern terminology of metaphysics is called light code talking. The purpose of the light codes is to make certain information click in the mind that your mamas and grandmamas gave you that you didn't know was relevant, but now it makes sense. While all our grandmamas kept saying, we got Indian in us, baby. Now, don't you forget it. We ain't no Africans, and we got Indian in us. If we ain't Africans and we got Indian in us, what the hell that make us? They say we got Indian in us, they talking about what your soul made out of. They ain't talking about what they telling you your body is. They telling you your body from Africa, but your mama telling you your soul is an Indian from here. But we don't know what they talking about until we get to become elders. Now I got to translate it because I got a unique ability to translate what my big mama told me into a set of instructions to follow in order to deliver the message. I don't got to know it all. I just got to know enough to know how to get you to see your part. That's the same thing Kendrick doing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything going on in the hip hop culture has a reason, even though it might look tacky, it might look what we call street ghetto, right? It still got a purpose. It's still a message in it for the ones who know that the culture is serious. And when they forget that the culture is serious, something serious happened in the culture to remind them.
Wow. There's a couple of questions that I starred that one that popped up like 5 or 6 times, probably from the same person, so individual, but I'm gonna I started so I could bring it back. Wanted to know that said that there was something that you put on your site about Elon 14 words. I'm not sure.
14 flags, the dog whistle.
Oh, it's okay. They put words. So you said 14 flags.
Mm-hmm. It was 14 flags. It's not Elon Musk post. I think it's it might be an Elon Musk post, but it's 14 flags that was posted at 11:14. And the dude that's talking about it is saying it's a dog whistle. A dog whistle is a set of codes, a call to action that only certain people are supposed to respond to.
Oh, because that's like the silent whistle type thing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean specifically anything that you can expound on. It's just that somebody's saying that a code's been sent out. That
well, you got to look at what's going on, and then they'll tell you what the code means.
Okay. Now I don't know how old it was, and it didn't look like it was new, but I saw a clip. I want to say it was a TikTok clip or something, and it was was there a woman, and was there a young woman and 2 young women, or maybe 1 young woman and 1 young man? They were saying that they were either they were the children of Dr. Malachi Z. York or something, and they were admitting that they had been coached to give the story.
They said they set him up.
That they set him up. That's what I'm saying. But they were.
They didn't say they got coached. They said they set him up, and they went.
Yeah,
yeah,
they
I
said,
don't want to sugarcoat it.
okay, but I before I go there, but I also had a conversation with a brother who's been on my show. Maybe he hasn't been on for a couple of years, but who's very familiar with this case also, who had told me a couple of years ago that where he is in Atlanta, he specifically was present when, because he's in the music industry, and he said that his son was there at the studio and had these young ladies with them that he was telling them what to say. The promise he was going to take them to Disney the World, I guess the one in Florida. He told them that if they got the story right, if they were able to, you know, whatever they were going to say to the authorities, he said he was there when this son, whoever, I guess he was, I don't know if his biological son or what, was coaching.
Jacob Jordan.
Yeah, well, he was well, I'm calling coaching. In this case, he was coaching these girls as to what to say. But then, like you said, the video I saw, the women were saying they lied, they set him up. And my question is, why, if those kinds of things have been publicly, those declarations and statements have been made, isn't that enough to, well, I know why, but I'm going to ask anyway, why hasn't that been enough to reopen the case and to release Dr. York?
This is the continuation of COINTELPRO. Remember,
what does it take from us? I mean, what's it going to take from us? I mean, do you think because we've been too silent?
We have to restore our tribal jurisdictional supremacy on the land. The tribes are responsible for restoring back the balance to the land. And you're going to know this because the statistical crime rate is going to plummet. You're going to have the OGs and all of the hoods explaining to the youth about how we got infiltrated, how they turned us against each other. And the youth going to take it to the streets and they going to talk among themselves and they going to support the elders in the oral tradition of reclaiming the land. It's in the process now. If you watch the algorithm, 5 years ago when I started this, it was probably me and Dane Calloway and Karimu Ahu are the only ones telling the story. Now, when you look at the algorithm, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, everybody know they not like us. They not like us. Everybody know. Everybody know that. You even have political officials coming out calling the former slaves Indians because they was never
through something, you know, as a former pastor and all that. It's always about helping folks come through. But when you have to try to go back and get people out of something that you had a part of putting them in, you know what I mean? You told them that this was.
That gives you a higher sense of duty to want to do it, but it makes you more frustrated doing it because you remember you used to teach it.
Yeah, that's the part.
And it comes with a sense of shame as you trying to tell somebody that I was tricked too.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't have told you that bullshit. The mind control, the mental trap, the illusion that they paint, it's a compelling story. The greatest story ever told that ain't true. They tell you it's the greatest story ever told. They just don't tell you that Josephus Flavius wrote it. And that it was never a religious book, but it was a whole theater played out before they had TVs and radios in a play format. That's why you got the verses in the Bible. Because all of the verses is somebody remembering their lines. The more verses you can remember, you can play any part if you can remember the whole thing. They use the same format in order to create Hafiz in Islam. Because the ones who gonna rise up to be the leaders of their clan, to try to expand reach and join the other clans and to get the imposters off the land, they have to control them. So they use the religious paradigm. Christianity didn't work on all them people in the Middle East. They was too volatile. They needed a volatile savior. So they saturate him with all these Catholics in order to influence what they need him to teach. So now he got to go to his Bible scholars in order to verify his revelations, in order to make sure that he translating correctly what the Spirit is telling him, and they telling him the wrong answer on purpose. But really, we don't know what he said because he ain't write shit, because they said he was illiterate, right?
Okay. Somebody did, but wasn't him.
Now, remember that they burnt up every known copy at one point of the Quran in the Crusades. They purged all of the mosques because regular people didn't have one. Only the imams and the sheikhs had them, and they knew where they all was at because they wasn't mass produced. They was produced on different parchments and leaves and clay tablets or whatever kind of format, but that's not, so it's easy to keep track because you know who the printer was, and the printer know where every copy he sent out because he know how many he made. Because he might only make one every 2-3 years because he got to take his time and write each letter because he don't got no printer. That's what made I think it was the Coverdale Bible so popular, the first mass print, or the Tinsdale Bible, the first mass print production of a Bible. So they was all doing it by hand back then. They had to know the calligraphy, which is the penmanship required as a scribe to be able to transcribe something. We keep looking at ancient stuff with modern eyes, and that's why we keep getting confused about what we seeing in them stories. You got to look at ancient things with ancient eyes and then adjust your view for the future. When you know the history of what's been going on, you realize, okay, Josephus Flavius was the student of a guy named Origen, known as the first century Christian philosopher. Why his books ain't in the Bible? Because his was wrote before Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Episcopal, any of that. Revelation. Origen's book was before all of them, and he was the foremost authority on Christianity in the first century, and none of his books is in the Bible. That tell you that it ain't got nothing to do with Christianity. Mm-hmm. And that's why the Coptic Bible and the regular Bible, they're not the same. They don't say the same stuff under translation because you got two different groups of people talking, one passing off as the other. But Al Kupt, the leader of the Coptics, he know. They rewrote our stuff and tried to pass it off as the doctrine of men. And then it wrote it right in the book. These people draw near unto me with their mouth, but their hearts are far from me. Teaching as commandment the doctrines of men. Where they getting their commandments from? Out of a book that some man wrote? Who wrote what chapter? They don't know. The church don't know. Nobody in the church know who wrote none of them books. They get credit to the people that they name them after, but some of the people they named them after, not even a name. It's a title, like Daniel. Daniel means the judgment of God. And that's not a name, that's a title. Right? David, the beloved. That's not a name, that's a title. The sheep herder's boy. All of these stories is being adopted and stolen from ancient cultures to be told to us in just a way to make us attached to it by genetic memory. You know the stories, you just get it out of order. They got the stories out of order in our head because we don't know the holy drama. We don't know the confessions of mind. We don't know the principles of mind. Right? We don't know none of the sciences that was coming to us back in the day that irons everything out and make it as crisp and clean as starched blue jeans. The culture don't lie though. It's gonna play out in the people. They're gonna tell the same story that was the ancient stories in the correct format using a modern method. We ain't never stopped singing. We ain't never stopped rapping. We ain't never stopped beatboxing. We ain't never stopped making beats off stuff that don't even supposed to be made beats on. Now you see us in Central Park. We got buckets, pots, garbage cans. We got pencils and cups. It's in us. We naturally have, you can't deny what's in you because it'll drive you stir crazy. The harder you fight being yourself, this tie back to the self work, Dr. G. The harder you fight being yourself, the harder your life fights you back.
Yeah.
But sometimes embracing being who you are requires you to fight to become your next level. Because you need to require struggle in order to project you forward a little bit stronger. As soon as you stop taking things personally, then you can deal with yourself. A lot of times people be assuming somebody said something and they meant something that they never said or meant. But somebody thought they heard something, but it didn't what they heard. Now they delivering the story that ain't even what it was supposed to be. That then started some stuff that wasn't never supposed to happen.